So, World War III's closed beta has finally released, and for the first 48 hours, it kind of felt like a repeat of 2018. Server issues, authentication issues, grouping issues, just a whole meltdown of their server tech infrastructure, and it seems like it's now under control, but there's a lot of underlying issues in the game's design that I myself brought up during the alpha test earlier this year that still haven't been addressed, haven't been fixed, and it's causing me a lot of issues in trying to play the game. If you guys liked the video, leave a like down below and check out my second channel, More Big Fry, to see my live opinions and gameplay chopped up for your viewing pleasure. World War III is a half-baked experience, and I know all the comments that are coming, well, Big Fry, it's just a beta, that's what it's for. You're right. The game is in closed beta testing and has been for, at the time of recording, about 72 hours. Unless you count the last 3 years of development since its initial release in 2018, on top of the development that was already done before that. The game's been around the block, and for me, at this point, I feel like some aspects of the game have actually been dialed backwards for reasons that are completely unknown to me. The audio in this game at the current moment is atrocious. Some of the worst that I have heard in an FPS I actually think in my life, and I said it during the alpha as well. Footsteps sound like pitter-patters, quick skitter-scatter steps when you're sprinting, and when you hear people sprint around you, it's just ridiculous.
Here, stay alive.
Yeah, that was just one person, and it sounded like a fucking army coming around the corner, did it not?
Give me some gear. UAV ready for deployment. Cover me! Loading! Going hot! Fuck you in particular!
Szanowni klienci, prosimy kierować się do wyjść ewakuacyjnych. Proszę zachować spokój.
All the sounds from gunfire to grenade explosions to vehicle cannons are just so underwhelming. Rifles sound like airsoft guns, and explosions from grenades just feel so meh. And it's all mixed in this really terrible, trebly way with no bass to, well, anything really. I do like the character callouts more than, say, a game like Battlefield 2042, but at times the game is almost unplayable if you're trying to hold an angle, hold an objective. If you're trying to play the fucking objective, the game is incredibly tough to be able to hear footsteps, to figure out where gunfire is happening. When you hear gunfire off to your right, it doesn't sound like it's like around a corner in distance. It's just like it's there. It's so much worse than the original release. I don't know why it's been overhauled. I really don't get it at all. The maps have changed a bit from the original 2018 release as well, so it's been taking just a little bit to get used to that. Some, paths that were there before, some doors that were open are now closed. Not a big deal, but one thing that I've noticed is just how empty everything is. The maps are around the same size, and the player count within them is the same as when I originally played, but it feels like you're running around forever trying to find people, which is different from before. The game flow has completely shifted, and I think the maps need to be dialed back by about a third, especially when you're talking about TDM. That way it can push the pace of the game, because right now, running around, everything just kind of feels so lifeless. Gunplay has also shifted tremendously. The gun handle is okay with plenty of recoil, much more than other FPSs that I've played, but with the audio the way it is, it's just sort of an underwhelming experience. Most ARs I feel need to be tuned down just a little bit in terms of their recoil. Fighting over any sort of distance is almost a crapshoot, so I guess it makes marksman's really viable. They've also tuned down the RPG damage to not only infantry, but to vehicles as well, so it almost feels useless at times to use the anti-tank class at all. There definitely needs to be some balancing among weapons. I've tried to use SMGs, ARs, LMGs, and all of them just feel slightly off, especially when comparing to one another. Something is off about the gunplay right now. Hit reg, from my perspective, is actually really, really good. If you can aim and if you can control that recoil, your bullets will go where they should go. I think some things just need to be tweaked, either buff, nerfed, recoil needs to be dialed back a little bit. Customization in the game has literally set the bar for other games in the genre. There is so much to customize and unlock. It's rivaling games like Modern Warfare with their gunsmith system. It's easily the best part about World War III at this point. I'm not going to talk about server issues at the current moment. They had a rough launch yet again. It pissed me off on stream. I tried to play it for 2 days. It was a rough experience, but I will say the game itself, I feel like it has potential, but I also feel like a little bit of the uniqueness that made World War III what it was back in the day, it feels kind of gone. Optimization here is a weird one because I feel like the game runs okay for me, but when I get into gunfights when there's a few people around, it's not that it drops like Battlefield does, but the frames become very, very inconsistent. And right now, I don't know if that's a server issue or if it's like my performance issue. I'm seeing people say that there's optimization problems. It's weird. When I first start the game and I'm like running to an objective, it runs really well. But as soon as we start getting into engagements, things kind of get a little wonky for me. They kind of dip and it doesn't feel as smooth as it should. It definitely doesn't feel as smooth as it did back in 2018. And I don't know if it's server performance or if it's just optimization issues altogether with, different PC builds. I don't know that yet, so I don't want to harp on it, but obviously there's a couple of different issues at play there, and I don't know how to suggest how to fix it. I will say I'm seeing a lot of people online having a lot of fun with the game, which is awesome, right? That's what we want. For me personally, it's really tough to play the game with the audio issues. When I play games like this, I'm very competitive. I might not be the best shooter. I'm not sitting here playing like Shroud, but I want to compete at a higher level. I want to play the fucking objective, and I want to win. And it's really tough to do that when you have issues like in this game you guys are watching here. You'll notice that as people drop out of the game, the server isn't smart enough to seed it back in with new players. So as somebody leaves, your team just gets steamrolled. And one issue that I had with the game, even way back in the day, is that it takes so damn long to collect these points, and you're in a game for like 25 minutes, and it's a lot of just okay, run to this point, sit there, you don't see anybody. You run to this point, you might see one or two people. There's a lot of downtime in this game, and it feels like it could be cut in half. It was one of my biggest suggestions back then to push the pace and to make people actually go out to these objectives and try to cap them as fast as possible. But right now, with players leaving and not being able to be put back in, the flow of the game is just... It's kind of at a standstill, and it's almost like every time I jump in, it's either my team steamrolling, or the more likely scenario is that my team is just getting fucking steamrolled as I'm trying to just hold on to either B1 or B2, and I notice that none of my teammates are capping any other objectives because half of them have left, and then you realize that the lifelessness you're looking around is because nobody's playing. The game has a lot of people trying to get in. They had server issues trying to open it up to as many people as possible. So it's not like there's a lack of players right now. There's just a lack of really key server infrastructure that'll let things like seating in a half-empty lobby actually take place. And for me right now, playing the game just feels kind of like a chore. And it's really, really unfortunate because even playing in the Veterans Alpha test a couple of months ago felt a lot better than it does right now. And I think it's because that was a more focused environment and it didn't have as many people trying to flood the servers and cause these issues. Right now, World War III is not a game that I really want to play, and it's really, really fucking unfortunate. Obviously, a lot of these issues are going to be fixed, or hopefully are going to be fixed within the next couple of months, I would hope. But I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. After the year that we have had with FPSs, I'm honestly just kind of at a loss. I'm kind of at a standstill for trying to play games. Halo has been really, really great, but there's not enough content. I don't want to burn myself out on it yet, if that makes sense, because we're playing the same maps, we're playing the same modes. I know they have this new event. I think the progression needing to be changed is something that should be kind of put on the forefront to keep people engaged in that. But honestly, after World War III, I was kind of just like, I hope it doesn't launch horribly, because I really got nothing else on the horizon until next year with Modern Warfare 2. So it's been a rough one. If you guys are liking World War III, I'm really glad. I hope that in the near future they can get some of this stuff, you know, under control and fixed, and I can be in there with you guys every day. I want a game. I want a game that I can grind every day, because World War III has a lot of the content that I want out of an FPS. I wish that you could take Insurgency's gunplay with World War III's customization, unlocks, cosmetics, and that like whole system, and just combine the two, because that would be like a fucking perfect game. Have the optimization of a game like Modern Warfare with Insurgency's gunplay, with World War III's cosmetics, unlocks, and everything else would be fucking incredible. But even now, at the end of 2021, I still find myself looking around to try to find that FPS experience that's going to hold me. Anyways, guys, I'm done ranting for the day. If you guys are liking World War III, I'm really, really glad for you. I just want to know your guys' thoughts on this closed beta launch. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more FPS content. Don't know how much more I can fucking do for FPS, but we'll see here. My name is BigFry. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.